Woo woo woo. Hey y'all, it's your girl Ramel. And Leslie will be joining us shortly. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank y'all for joining us for another episode. But also, I wanted to just kind of come on here, talk briefly about Mr. Paul Rubens. Leslie is not ready to talk about it. She is taking this quite hard. So she's like, girl, please go on here and say something about this man because I can't. I'm going to break down. So, on behalf of Woo Woo Woo, the podcast, we wanted to just give homage and say rest in peace, Mr. Paul Rubens. We all love Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, his movies, all of his fabulous just attributes to the pop culture of the 80s and early 90s. And so, yes, I want to say RIP, Mr. Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman. And we will always hold you forever in our hearts. And Leslie especially will. Girl, you know what is like the most interesting, craziest conversation that I keep having over and over again. Even with LJ, I've had this conversation with him about about this topic.
What's that, girl?
Girl, like about the different generations that like are
Oh
living amongst
yeah.
us right now in society. Like,
Yes. It always comes up.
right? It's so crazy. It's very interesting because I am a sociologist at heart, I think. So I
Mhm. It is really interesting to because they all kind of have like their little stereotypes and each
yes.
generation you think of a different thing for each generation.
But what are they again? Like what exactly? Because sometimes I get confused. I'm like, wait, am I generation? Am I
Right,
millennial? Am I Generation X?
girl.
Am I
So, all right. So here's the breakdown. I did my research.
okay?
So, kind of the oldest generation that's around right now is not the oldest, but generally speaking, is the silent generation. And they are born between
Oh,
1925 and 1945. So that makes them between the ages of like 78 and 95 right now.
okay,
And
okay.
okay, so this includes like Robert De Niro, Julie Andrews, Jane Fonda, Harrison Ford, Morgan Freeman, and Joe Biden. He's up there,
Got
man.
it. So those are like your if you're like Leslie and I are like 41, about to turn 42 in the next like me in the next month. Leslie in
In the
like the
next few
next two
months.
months. But
Yeah,
yeah, so we're almost the exact same age. So we're about to turn 42. So those would be our grandparents right now, the silent
right.
generation, basically. Okay, got it, got it, got
Yep,
it.
yep. So, according to the internet, the silent generation is best known for being traditionalist and having a
Mm-hmm.
desire to work within the system rather than to try to change it. And
Okay,
that kind of
okay.
makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. The
Like,
system worked
you know,
really well for them. So
well, and it
yes.
was kind of just being established. I mean, if
Yeah,
you're
that's
born in
true.
1925, you know, they're still learning.
They're still,
America was
yeah, I
still
don't know when
young.
the New Deal happened. I know that like changed everything as far as like housing and being able to obtain
Right.
property and all that stuff. So I feel like that was yeah, around there. I'm sorry, I'm not huge. I love history, but sometimes dates are confusing. So sorry if
Yeah, I
someone
get
out there listening like they
it.
don't know when the New Deal. Sorry, I was not around, so that date does not stick out in my head.
No,
Apologies.
I was not a history buff either. That's why I had to write all this stuff down, girl.
Exactly. Right. So, okay, cool.
But I definitely dig the silent generation. Like I can
Yeah, definitely.
like they cook delicious food, they can
Yeah.
sew, they can garden. Like my granddad is a master gardener. He is a very good gardener. And my grandma is a
Definitely.
delicious cook. So my granddad grows, my grandma cooks. It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. My grandparent, oh, you obviously have several sets of, but the one that I was closest with, um, like my grandmother's still alive, and I'm always very impressed with her and my grandfather's. Like they're very tech savvy. They always had like
Yeah.
the latest iPad. Like my grandmother is all like appled out, knows has the latest iPads,
Yeah, well,
and
my grandma has, they have a portal and they talk to us on the
yeah,
portal. My grandma has an Instagram.
yeah. Yeah, totally. Facebook, Instagram, text her.
And I also feel
Um,
like this silent generation is also like a little more understanding that like things change and people can be different.
and yeah, I agree.
Like
I
I
agree.
have several like gay friends and my grandparents have like never tripped out about they're like, "Oh, they're gay? Cool. Moving on." Like they just kind of are like, "Wow, a lot of things have changed since I was a young lad." And just kind of roll with it. I think that's cool.
Yeah, maybe and then maybe too when you get, I'm already feel like I'm at that age, but also too when you get the age when you're just like, I ain't got time to be going back and forth people and arguing over if this is right
Mm,
or wrong. You do you, boo boo. You do. But
uh,
I already feel like I'm at that age. So
yeah, but to me, our next generation, the baby boomers, they are the ones to me that can't be like letting go of stuff. And, so what if somebody wants to use pronouns? Like, call them they. Who cares? Like,
what's
you
the
know,
year of the baby boomers? What year
so
were
the
they born in?
boomers, they are born from 1946 to 1964.
Okay, so
So,
those are, as far as Leslie and I go, like our parents, basically.
yeah. Yeah, both of my parents are baby boomers, but they're like
Yeah, mine
they're part
too.
of the younger boomers.
Mine are in the
At that
middle. Mine are 53. Milton and Renita are 53 and 54. So they're like pretty much in the middle.
I think Mary Nell would have a hard time with me putting her age out there, so I'm just gonna say she's a younger
Oh, okay.
boomer.
Sorry. Sorry,
But
Milton and Renita, if I offended you guys
put
with
you on
that. I didn't
blast.
think about it. Right. My bad. Sorry.
But we have very cool boomer parents. So
We do.
famous
We do. Not
boomers.
them when we talk about bad about the boomers. So not them.
Right. Yeah. Our parents are off. Yeah. They're safe. They're the good ones. But
Yeah.
okay, here's some famous boomers. We have
Oh, yeah.
Obama,
Okay.
Trump, Oprah. Damn,
Trump.
they really, yes.
I
He's
thought
an
you said he was
older,
not. Oh, no, he's a boomer. My
he's a
bad.
boomer.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Obama and Trump
You're
are
right.
both boomers.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
right.
Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Oprah, Tom Hanks, Bill Gates, those are all boomers.
Okay.
And so when I looked up what is the baby boomer generation known for? It says that they're known for their activism, social change, and freedom, to which I literally wrote down bombastic side eye because mm, I do think that obviously there are those baby boomers because that is when like social change
A
came
lot
up.
of stuff. Yeah, for sure.
But like what now that they're in charge, like we don't get freedoms and social activisms and stuff too. Like I feel like the boomers have the hardest time with like especially the millennials speaking up about stuff. To me anyways.
Right. Yeah, I guess you're right. And then I think in terms of like customer service, because I pretty much that's like my entire job, whether it's being a realtor or working in food service.
Right.
I was always in some type of customer service. And I do feel like the boomers were the ones which you were like, oh my God, what like so why are you so upset over this cheeseburger? It's not that I will
Yes.
get you a new one. It's okay. But
Like
like
it
they
is
would be
all
like,
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're. I mean, always exceptions to the rule. Like our parents are awesome, but they're. I feel like they're the ones that. Yeah, I'm always looking at like, we're entitled because they always want to say that we're like Generation X
Yes,
is
like dang, y'all bought
and
a
stuff. Yeah,
you
just go to
took advantage
work.
of this of the stock market and dang, y'all
Right.
made all the drugs illegal and even the fun ones. Like, you know, I don't
Girl, yeah,
know.
they're a little kind of suspect. Looking at them side eyed. They've been through a lot of
So
stuff too, though. I guess like they saw a lot of, but we all have. We all, I mean, if you live a life, you go through a lot of stuff and you see the world change. So
right.
that's kind of reductive just to be like, they saw a lot of stuff. Like, we've seen a lot of stuff.
Girl, yes.
Like,
So
Quincy was born in 2020, and before she was 1 year old, like was born during a pandemic. She saw an impeachment. Trump was impeached. Like
mm,
January 6th all happened. Like just politically and like nationally,
mm,
she's already been through a
crazy.
lot.
Yeah.
The warmest record heat this summer of
Girl,
ever.
it's hot.
Even the oceans are hot. In the hot
Oh
tubs.
no. Ooh, I hope those fish are okay. They're not in there boiling.
Mm. Well, I remember being a kid, like in the 80s, and them telling us about the ozone and making sure that, you recycle and reduce, reuse, recycle. I learned that in elementary school. But they told us all this time that global warming was going to happen, that climate change was going to happen. But now that the boomers are all up in the positions of power, now it doesn't exist. We've been hearing about this for a long time. And now the coral reef is suffering the consequences. But anyways,
Yeah, boomers are a little. They're not as cool as their parents
no,
for sure.
right.
Sorry,
In
boomers.
general, I know. I
And
feel a
maybe
little
it's
bit
just our relation to them because I'm sure if you ask my son, my mom is way cooler than I am because that's his grandma. And maybe just,
right.
we love grandparents. So maybe that's just our relationship to them. Maybe the Generation X would be like, let me tell you about these damn boomers.
Right. No, generation,
Or
if we're
no,
complaining about they are
we're complaining
complaining
about
about
the
the
boomers.
silent generation.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
nobody has a hard time with Gen X. They're our next generation.
Yeah, Generation X is pretty
They're
cool.
I do think Gen X is cool. They're born 1965 to 1980. So they're 43 to 58 now. This includes Drew Barrymore, Eminem, Kurt Cobain, Jay-Z, Winona Ryder, Tupac, Elon Musk.
No, that's a
They're
whole
all
totally.
Generation X.
Yeah. I feel like they're the first generation to kind of be like, just like like how we talk about the system, because the system, and when we mean we understand. So like no one, like the system does not work the same for everyone. So I'm not talking
Right.
about, it's very generalization. So when I'm talking about the New Deal, I know the New Deal messed up a lot of people too. So don't, like, I understand,
Right.
but I'm just speaking in broad terms here. I know for my people and generation in general, the New Deal did not work for us. So just, yeah,
Mm.
just want to get that out of the way. So
Get that out there.
right, like I know, I'm aware. Like I know my people weren't out there buying homes and shit.
Mm.
Um, but what was the point I was
We're talking
even
about
making?
Generation X's
Oh, okay.
and the
Yeah. Like they
system.
were the first. Okay, yes. So I feel like the Silent Generation and the baby boomers, they really had, like you said, the system was new, and so they were able to like buy homes, have a one-person income household.
Yes.
Like you said, take advantage of stocks and like
Middle
retire.
class
And
was very
yeah,
prevalent then.
exactly. And you can
Yeah.
and retire and have enough money to like all that stuff. So I think they were the first
Yeah,
ones to
you were
like,
taking a vacation in the
yeah,
summer. You were
yeah.
buying a real Christmas tree. Yeah. Yeah.
But then the
Millennials
Generation
do not.
X was probably the first ones. They didn't like, they're the first ones to start to question it. Like, wait a minute, this is cool for these certain people, but not everybody. They were the ones that, and then
Right.
like working for the man sucks and he takes advantage of you, and they,
I
like
feel
they are
like
the first ones. I
I
think,
feel like
right?
Generation X embraced you to be a little more like weird and yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't as much about like outward appearances, like,
Mm-hmm.
especially like, Christina Ricci and Winona Ryder, Johnny Depp, like all them, like obviously they were pretty people, but they
Right.
were like, a little quirky too. And
Right.
girl, Pee Wee, I guess he's
Yeah.
no, Pee Wee would have been a boomer. I'm still not ready to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. I know, girl.
Pee Wee. I had a really hard time with that, y'all. Several people checked in on me and I'm still not okay. But,
Right.
anyways,
Oh.
well, according to the internet for Gen Xers, they are
Mm-hmm.
known for being resourceful and independent. And
Mm.
they say these traits stem from their latchkey childhoods and that they do a better job of maintaining a work life balance because they saw their parents overwork and miss a lot of like home stuff. Because like
Right.
yeah, it was one income household for like, boomers and silent generation a lot, but at the cost of like, having a stay-at-home wife and that took care of everything and did everything with the kids. So I
Right.
think a
Right.
lot of Gen Xers probably didn't have like, the kind of hands-on childhoods that we had.
Right. Right.
But
No,
we
I
have
agree.
boomer
Yeah.
parents too. I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
it is different for everyone.
Yeah, it
I,
is.
I was kind
And
of a latchkey kid. Like my parents were divorced, but like very involved. But my mom didn't get home till 5:30 at night, so
right.
I was by myself for a couple of hours after school.
Right. See, and
But
I guess it depends. I don't think I was necessarily like a latchkey kid. I probably had like not as involved. Like I'm probably a little bit more involved than my mom was. Not too much, but my mom was pretty. My mom and
she's
but
a
my
teacher,
dad,
and
yeah, but my dad probably wasn't as involved as like looking back. He probably, like because he was
right,
working, but my mom was working too. I wouldn't say latchkey. No, not at all. But I understand what you're saying. I'm like, that's a
right.
hard one. And then I even think of the like because you and I had this problem because what's the millennial
So yeah,
years again?
the next generation is the millennials, and that's us according to the internet, and that's
Uh-huh.
81 through 96. But
Okay. Yeah.
okay, that's
So
that's Beyonce, but that's also like Harry Styles, who's 10 years
right.
younger than us.
Exactly.
Like
I
I
was
feel
gonna
like he was a
say,
little boy.
yeah, no, no, no. I exactly.
Justin
I
Bieber,
but I
he's
was
a millennial. Like
and the
we remember him as a little boy.
right. What I was gonna say is I think there's in each generation, I think there's a definite divide between like the youngers and the old. So like you
Right.
said, like being born in the 1980s, 80s in general, even being born in 81 and 89 is totally different. So for Generation X,
Yes.
same thing. So it starts off at 65, but it ends at 80. Well, being born in 65 and being born in 80 is two different things, even though you're the same
Completely
generation.
different. Right.
So I think you
But
can even
here's where I
divide those
think, right, I'm
generations
sure
up.
everyone can be like that. But here's where I think ours is interesting is because when you look up millennials and what they're known for, we're known for being tech savvy, caring
Mhm.
more about more than just a paycheck, and are accustomed to having a voice and a seat at the table. So, but we grew up with the tech, like being born in the early 80s. Like our
Mhm.
junior highs went for us is like when AOL came out. Like I
Right.
remember learning the Dewey Decimal System in elementary school.
Oh yeah.
But then in high school, we were using like the internet and you had to like cite your sources and put your website on there.
Right, right, right. So we had a whole bunch of
Like we
yeah,
grew up
you're
with
right.
stuff like we have, uh, like pagers. Like somebody born
Right.
in
Answer machines.
1996 would not know
Mm-hmm.
at all what a pager is, or even a
No,
tape
not at
deck.
all.
Like we went from tape decks to CDs to MP3s. Like girl, I
Mm-hmm.
lost my mind when I went to college and we had the Ethernet, because the only thing I had ever experienced before that was dial up. And I
Right.
remember the exact sounds of the dial up and the excitement of getting a new AOL CD in the mail with 150 free hours on it. But then
Dang.
when I went to college and they had the Ethernet, that's when Napster was around. And girl, I
Right.
downloaded so many songs. I'd queue them up and go off to college, off to class, and I'd come back and like maybe half of them would be downloaded. But then you'd burn a CD and you felt so good. Like,
Yes,
could somebody in
right.
1996 explain to you how to burn a CD? No.
No, not at all. I don't think
Or
I've
did
burned.
they have a
I stayed
MySpace?
listening to CDs for a long, just for that reason, because I didn't have the patience for downloading. So I stayed on the CD thing until there was like iPods and stuff, and I was like, okay, but girl, just for that, because I was like, this is taking entirely too long.
Oh, see, I loved it. Like putting in the love and the work, like first of all picking the songs, making a
Yeah, that
mixtape.
is. Yeah, somebody
That's a
made you
labor of
a
love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's definitely a badge of honor. Like, so and so made me this mix CD.
Yes,
Like,
I
yeah,
pretty
you were
much
like,
knew
yeah,
Paul was the one when I was like, "Will you make me a Spotify playlist?" And he did, and it was all
no,
songs and from him. And I was like, "You're the one."
right. That's
Well, what
hilarious.
else would like? I'm trying to think of what else we experienced that older, like younger millennials wouldn't. Because did I say the
Um,
millennials? Like that's Beyonce, Britney Spears, Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, LeBron James, Prince William. Those are all millennials, and we're 27 to 42 years old.
that's crazy. 27? Like, what
Yeah,
the hell?
like
I don't have nothing in common with no damn 27-year-old.
no.
Like, what the like we did like
But there is
voicemail and answer machines and girl, all kinds of stuff. Like, I feel like we could go like you could zero in on
a
like
whole episode
schools and
just on.
TVs and movie. Like, yeah, the
Yeah, we didn't
difference
have
between that's
streaming and
yeah,
stuff. Like we had
right.
VHSs. I don't know. I feel like they do call, there's like a small group. I think it's 80 to like 86 or 88.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they call us the Xennials because we
yeah,
literally grew up with the technology. Like
yeah.
I remember our first cell phone.
Yeah.
You would call your parents' house, like your friends' parents' house first, and oh, they're out. Call them on their cell phone, and then they'd be like, "Call me after 9."
Yes. I feel like my mom, I remember going, like we got her a cell phone because she traveled a lot for this one job. And
Mhm.
so my dad got her cell phone. And I remember like going, it was like damn near buying a car. It took all day to set up the phone and they were telling us instructions and you can't
Oh
make sure
yeah,
like
don't
you do
push that
this
roaming
and
button or don't push the
yes.
internet.
And I remember thinking,
Ugh,
like, I'm not going to remember all these things to tell mom about this. But, like, I remember being like, oh my God, now you can just, like, order one and it comes straight to your house. And you're like, let me
right.
just
Well,
transfer everything real quick.
before they would give you the phone for free and you paid out the wazoo for minutes, and then they were like,
Yeah,
"Hold up."
yeah. I forgot about minutes, girl.
Yes, you'd have to
Oh,
pay
that's
for your minutes.
hilarious.
Oh, my mom would get so mad when me and my friends would put her on a text thread because she'd be like, "I only have 300 texts for the whole month, and y'all wasted like half of them." Like,
Oh, that's
mom,
hilarious. Or I
she's
saw
like,
a
"Don't
meme, a
text me
real
till after
estate.
9."
That's hilarious. I saw a real estate meme the other day that said, I dominate millennials by picking up the phone and calling instead of texting. And I was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it because as an older millennial, I was like, I'm
Right,
fine talking on the phone. But then I kind of understood because I was like, but I do prefer you text. But so I can understand anyone
right,
younger than me probably be like, why the fuck are you calling?
right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't want anybody to like drop by my house unexpectedly or to call me on the phone unexpectedly. But you can
right,
text me and say, "Hey, I'm about to drop by," or "Hey, I'm about to call." And please
right.
don't leave me dang voicemail because I am never going to check my voicemails ever again.
Oh my God. On my voicemail, I have it on there. Like, please text me. I'm not, because people will still to this day, if you don't say it on there, they will tell you and they'll text you, hey, your voicemail is full. And you're like,
Mhm.
bitch, who's
Like,
about
right,
to
I
check
know.
the voicemail? And I'm appalled
Exactly.
at the number of people that do it. Cause I'm like, am I the crazy one? Like,
No,
hey, Ramel, your voicemail is full. Why would you try to leave a voicemail?
right?
What is
How would you
this?
even know that? Why would you? What
I'm
is
sorry.
wrong with you?
The 90s, I loved it, but geez, like it's so weird. It makes me so upset when people, so I had to change, I had to change it, and people always tell me like, I love your voicemail, because I'm like, please do not leave a message because this is
Yeah.
not the 90s. Text me.
Tonight is not the night.
Yeah, like why would you, don't text me? And then they want to text you that your voicemail is full. This
Right.
way more effective form of communication is texting
Right.
than you telling me about this damn voicemail. Girl, I
Right.
forgot
Yeah,
about that.
tell me what you left a message about instead of texting me that my
Right.
dang voicemail
What
is
are you
full.
doing? So
Obviously, you
annoying.
know how to text.
You could just bypass all this shit without you telling
Right?
me my voicemail is full.
That's probably millennials came up with this could have been an email. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't really. I'll talk to the phone like to you or like my parents, my grandparents, and stuff. But like, I don't know. I need to be like prepared to like have a long sit down conversation.
Right.
It's not like,
as
back
a
in the day when the phone
realtor,
rang,
right?
you would just
Like,
chat.
yeah, like a conversation, like just friendly. Yeah, it's very limited. But as a realtor, like especially if we're like transaction or I have to tell you something, because I was trying to tell somebody something the other day about like their wants, like they didn't have that great of a budget, but of course they wanted the world. And
Right.
like I was having trouble like phrasing it because I want to come off like, bitch, calm the fuck down, like that tone.
Right.
So I was like, I'm just gonna call you because I couldn't think of how to phrase it without it sounding
Right.
snarky.
This is just gonna full. I need to put some
Yes,
delicacy to this.
right. So I was like, let's text here. That sounded way nicer than like me texting like, yeah, there's
In your
that house
fucking
is
dreams.
not. I'm like, are you a millennial or a boomer or something? Because that's the housing prices from
Right?
that age,
Are you new
not today.
here?
Right.
Well, speaking of real estate, didn't you look up the different like pricing for each of the different
I
generations?
and it was quite fun and quite sad and at the same time. So it was kind of hard, like just getting like because a lot of the sites that I visited, like they adjusted it for inflation, and I'm like, no. In the 50s, you could buy about $6,000. That's very average across the nation.
A
Isn't that
whole
crazy?
ass
$6,000,
house?
a whole ass house for $6,000.
A whole house for six.
Yes,
Okay.
girl. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All
Like yes,
right.
girl. In the 60s, it went up to 8,500.
Okay.
Still, let's pay that. Let's
If
pay
you
that
can
hoe
put
off right now,
100 behind it, it's affordable.
girl. Let's pay
When
this
you get
off
to
real
like
quick.
24900.
Right? That's amazing. And then in the 70s, this is where it got kind of tricky because, like I said, this is like how I kind of brought up like the 70s, but I put in parentheses 75 because I couldn't find like actual 70s because 70 like there's a difference between 1970 and 1979 in home prices. So I went in the
Right.
middle and I went with 1975 and it jumped up to 18,500. So
That's a pretty
but
big jump. That's
yeah,
like
that's a pretty big jump,
$10,000
but
jump over a 10-year period.
right. But I feel like that's still hard because you're just like 10-year period. Within that 10-year period, I'm sure shit fluctuated too. So it's still very general. Like I'd need to go into more research to be, but I'm just kind of generalizing. Just giving you an idea. In the 80s, you could probably around between 45 and 60,000 in that decade. So maybe at the early part of the 80s, you were looking at 45,000. And then as got to the 90s, about 60,000. In the 90s, the 90 to the 2000s, the average was about 58.9 thousand. And then the 2000s to 2010, it went up to 75K.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start getting into like when we could start
The
buying
bubble
houses.
burst,
Yeah,
2008.
82. And then now today in Texas, the median or average, whatever, you're probably looking more at like 330, 340. So yeah,
330,000.
1,000. Yes.
So 70s or 50s, it was like $6,000.
Yes.
60s, around 8,000. 70s, 18, you said?
Yes.
80s, 45 to 60.
Uh-huh.
90s, 60 to like what,
Let's just say
100,000 probably?
yeah. Like depending on what part of the country you're looking at, but
Wow.
yes.
And then when did the big jump happen? After
Probably in
2008?
the yes, yeah. In the
The
early
bubble
to mid
burst.
2000s. And
Mm,
then got in the hundreds and now we're just
out of the
pricing
world, out of
everybody
this
out
world.
of yeah, yep.
It is kind of sad in Dallas, like all the like older homes and stuff. People buy them to tear them down to build new ones on top of it.
Yeah,
Like,
right. And that's a
I
lot
don't
of
feel like
money.
yeah,
Like you're buying a
like
plot of land
a
for
whole
like
house is very expensive just to tear
yes.
it down, and then you have to build a whole new one like on top of it.
Yeah, like
I
what?
don't know.
You should have just bought a brand new ass badass house somewhere. I don't know. Like I feel like there's other options that you could have done. Like just bought a
Yeah,
house
but
to tear
here in
down.
like Dallas, you're a lot of the times you're paying for like the neighborhood and stuff like that.
Yes, that's a lot of money to pay for the neighborhood, girl.
I guess. Well, I think the millennials got screwed out of
Mhm.
housing.
Yes. Oh, and you guys, by the way, that was your real estate roundup.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, after the millennials, then we have Generation Z. That's 96 to 2012. And so
Hmm.
they're 11 to 26 years old right now.
Yes. LJ
That
is a
says,
Generation Z.
how old is he
12.
right
He
now?
was born 2011. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My little brothers, they're Gen Z. And so that's Millie Bobby Brown, Greta Thunberg, Kylie Jenner, Jake
Mhm.
Paul, Billie Eilish.
Okay.
That's the little Gen Z crowd. Tom
Yeah.
Holland.
My son LJ definitely blames everything on the millennials. He thinks we made the worst decisions ever, and everything is our fault. And I'm like, really?
Oh,
He's like, yes, the daggone millennials. And I'm like, what? Okay, I
you
don't be
check
arguing with
yourself or
LJ.
you wreck your.
Yeah, I just be
I
like,
couldn't
okay,
argue with LJ. He's
yeah,
smart,
I just be like, yeah, I'll just go with it. Like, my bad.
right? I'm sorry.
Sorry
I'm
for messing
sorry
it
I
up.
did this to you
Mhm.
personally.
But right. I like Generation Z. I think they're smart. They're very savvy, different. They think of different outside the box. I
Right.
mean, they be over here making bags and like 20 years old, and you be like, "What? YouTube? How did you get this money?" And
Well,
like, so, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that they're pretty. They like, yeah, they are different, and but like they're a product of their environment. Like
Right.
they can't do the stuff that we could do at when we were kids. Like
No.
the world is not the same. They can't go ride down their bikes forever and ever without us anyone knowing where they are. We would, as a parents, we would be crucified and taken to jail if that happened.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they can't do it. Yeah.
Well, they're the first generation to be completely to grow with like technology as we know it right now. They're known for
Right.
being
Right.
more pragmatic and earlier to mature than those of previous
Mm-hmm.
generations because they've
Mm-hmm.
wholly grown up online. And
Mm-hmm.
the site, I can't remember. I think I was on like an encyclopedia site. I don't
Uh-huh.
remember, but it said that Gen Z on average spends 6+ hours on their phones every day.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But like, of course, they're not going to go out and ride their bikes and catch tadpoles and fireflies and stuff like we did when you can
Right.
play, on your phone all day. Or,
Right.
it's just different.
Right. And also, like, was as a parent, you struggle. What age can they go out and do that stuff? Like, it's so different.
Right.
Like now, I'd be confident if LJ was like on our property, but like he can't go super far, and that's just because we live out in the country. Like, if we lived in the city, then I'd be like
Right.
snatching kids and sex trafficking and stuff. So we just can't. If they want to go out and do all the stuff, we got to go with them, and we ain't nobody got time. We got to do
Right. I'm
20 other
busy.
million things, right? So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing like some grown up stuff at like 12 years
Right.
old, riding my bike. I
Girl,
remember
I
my
was riding
mom
my bike
sent me,
all around.
yes, my
Yes.
mom sent me to the pharmacy to pick up her pain medication one time. And they gave me like narcotics over the counter, like with a prescription for somebody
Thinking,
else. Like,
right,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
like,
sure they would send us like, not me, but like, you like go to the store and get a pack of smokes and a gallon of milk. Like it wasn't a big deal.
right.
No,
Yeah,
funny.
no.
And
So,
now you
yeah,
would literally never like you
right.
don't see. I don't know. It's just different because of how how
Well,
they've grown up.
girl, you know what else? Oh, this is going back to us and like Generation X. This is a fun conversation because it's so now. But remember when like drinking and driving was not that big of a deal? Like my dad
Yeah,
would have like we go to like a family outing and he'd have like a beer there in his cup holder, like no
yeah,
big
roadie
deal.
for the way home.
Yes. And like no one said anything. It was common or like your uncle or whoever. Like, girl, now you're like, what? Oh my
That
God. Like,
There's a clip. I'll have to find it and put it on our Instagram page. But there's a clip of like the when the law went into effect about not being able to drink and drive, and people are like pissed. They're like, "Well, I can't work a 12-hour day and crack a cold one and have a couple brewskis on the way home." Like, what?
what? That sounds so crazy. But yeah,
uh,
back in the day, that was very common. Like, bro,
yeah.
you're no big deal. Dad had a few beers. He just finished
Just throw all
working.
your friends in the back of the truck and head home. Oh my
Girl,
gosh.
remember they used to sell beer at like Chuck E. Cheese and stuff? Or back when it was called Showbiz, they would sell
Showbiz
alcohol. Like,
pizza. Yep.
yes. You're like, hey, have a pitcher of beer and then drive the kids home.
Fun for everyone. I don't know. We should bring that back. I'm not tripping about that.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. That's so funny. But yes, back to Generation Z. I feel like sometimes they get a little bad rap. I feel like they just adjust.
I do.
It'd be
I think
weird if
Gen
they were
Z's
like us.
cool.
Yeah, I think Gen Z's cool. They're like, and then I feel like these kids today, like I went through a freaking awkward stage. Like you can find some pictures of me where you're like, Ramel, what in the hell? And I'm like,
Oh my gosh, me
don't
too.
worry about the hair, don't worry about the
I
braces, don't
had
worry about
yes.
right, don't worry about I glowed up, okay? Don't worry about all that. But
Between
like
the years of 1986 and 1992.
exactly, girl. But now I feel like these kids don't go through awkward stages. Like they just be cool all the time. Like, how are you like
Yes.
8 years old or like 9, 10 years old and you're like got swag? You're like, what?
Right?
Okay.
Oh, I was
You
so
do?
awkward.
It's
It's
so
actually
awkward.
kind of funny that we have a podcast now because, like, at that age, I was so bad at storytelling. Like, when I was
Mm-hmm.
younger, I was terrible at telling stories and, like, keeping things in order. And, like, I would just talk and talk
Oh,
and talk and with no regard to, like, if anyone is enjoying it. So, but my dad and my granddad, like, they're natural storytellers. So I'm glad that I've come around because yeah, there
right,
was
right.
definitely
Yeah,
some
we
awkward
all gotta
stages.
grow up a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all right. Ain't nothing wrong. Growth.
Right.
That's what it is. So
Glow
cool.
up.
And then exactly. Okay. And then what is the latest? The latest and
So the
greatest?
current is Gen Alpha, and
The
they're
current.
born
Yes.
between
Okay.
2013 and 2025. And
Cool.
this is
So
like Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, like the kids of the Kardashians.
got
They're
you.
Quincy, Lovey. There
Yeah.
are Gen Alphas.
Gen Alpha. Well, LJ told me, I can't remember the year, but the next generation after them, do you know what they're called?
No.
They are Gen AI.
Oh.
That's what
See,
my son
AI is
told
going
me.
to change everything too. Yeah, because
Yes,
there's
yes.
going to be a pre-AI world and post-AI world.
They are. Yeah, you're right, girl.
Wow.
So yeah,
I
everybody
feel like the
sees
big thing for
change.
our generation was 9/11. I think that was a defining moment for our generation
Oh yeah, for sure.
because I remember being I was a freshman in college when it happened,
Yeah, me too.
and my mom told me to go get gas, and I was like, this is fucking serious if my mom is telling me to go get gas.
Right.
And like me and my husband just recently started like watching news footage from that day. And it's so weird because like the day just starts as a normal day. They were like,
Yeah.
well, Michael Jordan's making headlines with his new balsamic vinegar or whatever it was. Like something totally like what?
Uh,
And then like there's reports that a plane has hit the World Trade Center. I remember you didn't know, like, was it an accident? Was it not? Like I used to go literally hang out at the airport with my dad before 9/11. Like you could walk up to the terminals, you
yes,
know,
yes.
you
Yeah, for
didn't
sure.
you could basically take whatever you wanted on. You could friggin' smoke cigarettes
Yes.
on the plane. Like,
Girl.
yeah, I think that's our defining one of
That's
ours.
yeah, I agree.
But
Did
mm,
I think I told you this, Leslie, that one time whenever I was in college and I was working the box office at the theater and it was
mhm.
in December and this older guy came up to buy a ticket for the show and he was like, "Do you know what today is?" And I was like, Like I was just like Thursday, whatever. Like I don't know, like what is today? I was like searching the recesses of my brain, like what the heck is today? And
Right?
he was so upset with me that I didn't know. First of all, and he was like, "Today is Pearl Harbor Day," and I was like, "See, oh my god, I'm so sorry." And I felt bad because I was like, "Damn!" And I'm usually like, I don't. One of the things that I take pride in is like I be knowing stuff. I'm not one of those like simple chicks that just like, oh, what? I don't know,
Right.
like. Girl, I know, like that's. I was like, if you could come up to me off the street, I feel like confident that I would be able to answer a simple question. Maybe not one of the most complicated ones, but basic shit. I be knowing basic
Right.
shit. Okay, so I'm not just
You're
like some
aware.
clueless ass. Yeah, I'm not just like some clueless ass girl. But I was like, see, I wasn't even around when like that'd be like me
Right.
asking like on September 11th, like, oh, I'm always gonna know. But I can't go up and ask like LJ or like his friends, like, did you know?
Right.
Because they didn't like he remembers that day because he lived through it. I know it because of history, but that date does not stick into my mind. Like I know to this day.
Exactly.
I'm still like, it's either the 6th or 7th. I get it confused because one of them is my
I don't
grandmother's
know.
I can't remember. Is it either the 6th or the 7th? But
I don't know. I'm
I
not
know
very
that
good
for
at that
sure.
stuff.
But I just was not alive when that happened. But so like I was felt like I was so mad at him and I wanted to like I was just like, oh, because at first I was ashamed I didn't know, but then after I thought about it, I was like, bruh, like
Like, please
that's
don't
not even my
memory shame
fault.
me. Right?
Right? Like that's not even my fault. He was like, you kids today. And I was like,
Have
damn,
no
bro,
respect
like
for your history. Be like,
right,
God
like
dang.
I know of Pearl Harbor. I'm sitting here like, what the hell is Pearl Harbor? Like, I knew of it. I just like it wasn't at the forefront of my brain that was the day. Like, I'm over here trying to sell some tickets
Right.
to the damn place. Shit.
So, are you coming in to see?
Right. Like, I'm so like, to
So, are
this day,
we
I still
hello
remember
dolly in
that.
today? Come on.
That was like,
On
yeah,
this very
20 years
important day.
ago. But yeah, so like, yeah, they just like now 9/11, like for us, we'll always remember it. But for our kids who
Right.
are just not born, they'll know about it and they can be aware, but maybe they just don't remember. Maybe because it's called 9/11, maybe they'll, but you know what I'm saying.
That is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I'm like, well, Pearl
Maybe
Harbor
I'm
needs to be named 12/6 or some shit like that so I can
right.
remember.
Help us out. Name it the date.
But I remember, I know the events
I
leading
always
up to
know when
Pearl
it's the
Harbor.
4th of July and that is Independence Day.
Exactly.
Let's get smarter
Exactly.
with these names.
With these, yeah. Like if you want me to commit them to memory, then you need to help me out.
Right?
But yeah, I also thought that
Hmm.
was funny.
Yeah, I guess
So
it is
interesting.
relative to your memories.
Yeah, like I'm sure that was a traumatic day for him. And he was older, so I bet you he was like he knew people he was either fighting in the war or he knew people or in the military of some sort. You know, like I'm sure it really
Right.
affected him. But like, bruh, I was not born. So
Yeah.
like I said, I
Hmm.
know of it. I know what happened. I know the events leading up to it. I just that day I was just chilling, working at the
Right?
box office. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Sorry to this man.
Now I know.
Yeah.
It's either the 6th or the 7th.
Right?
Oh, girl. Well, I just think that is a very interesting topic. We could go on and on and on about it.
We really
According
could.
to our. Whoop, had a little technical difficulty. Moving on.
Who y'all? Sorry, we were doing things. Leslie is on a little trip there, a
A
little
little
mini
trippy
vacation.
trip.
So we're doing things a little bit differently. So sorry, we're just, bear with us with the technical part of it, okay?
Yes, it cut off a
Yeah.
little bit, but that's all right. We were done anyways.
Yeah, we're dropping it off.
We're, yeah, it's all right. Well, I think that was a super fun. I think that's an interesting conversation to have, like with all generations.
I
I
agree.
think I love talking to people. I love talking to older people. I like talking to younger people,
Me
getting different
too.
points of view. I think the millennials, me anyways, I'm pretty open-minded and down for some conversation.
I agree. I love the young people and I love the old people. As long as the older people understand that we done with the days of like you're gonna respect me just because I'm older. I can talk to you any other way,
Right.
but like
Respect
I
goes
will
both
start,
ways.
yeah. I will start off always respecting people. Always I'm gonna start off. But
Yes.
don't be getting mad when I give you the
And
same energy that you give me
exactly. Like,
despite
hold
your
up,
age.
I'm 40 years old. I am a 40-year-old person.
Yeah, yeah, right. So I think sometimes that's where
Hello?
Sorry, I'm gonna pop off on y'all boomers. Y'all all right?
I think we girl, on my side it cut out. So it was like and then I didn't hear anything. I was like, hello, and then you're like, sorry to pop off on y'all boomers. So it was like almost like the recording edited it. Oh my gosh. I am so curious to see how this sounds. Ramel went off, y'all.
I didn't really go, but I feel like we kind of like anyone we kind of dragged them. Like, so sorry. We still love y'all boomers. You're cool.
Yes. Yes. And if you are offended by what we said, we're probably not talking about you.
Yeah.
And if you are offended by, yeah, if you're like, that's not me, then don't worry about it. If you're like, I do be doing that shit, cut it out.
Then it's you. And stop
Then
doing
it's you.
shit.
Change your ways.
Right.
Well, girl, maybe some of our audience members will have a lovely conversation about generations with their little friends.
I love it.
That would be great.
Let's mend the generational gaps.
Start the conversation.
Yes. Love it. Well, Leslie, you have fun on your trip. I'm excited for you. Chill out and hopefully you get to rest and have some fun and let loose and, so have fun, girl. Get back to us safely.
I will have some good time with my family. We're at a family reunion, so it's always good for cousin time.
Oh, for sure.
All right, well, we'll see y'all next week.
Woo, woo, woo.
We will.